attorney in the city of Louisville for a long time. Are you seeing change from your perspective in this community?
No, in regard to the criminal justice system, there's no change whatsoever, which is the criminal justice system applies a different set of standards to police officers than it does to ordinary citizens. I've done this for 30 years. I've defended, 200 murder cases. When my clients have a self-defense claim, they get to present it to a jury at trial. They get indicted, they get arrested that night, they are interviewed by the police immediately, and they get indicted, and then if they've got a self-defense claim, the jury hears it and they're acquitted. Police, they don't interview them. They give them 6-8 days to ever be interviewed. And then it goes to the grand jury. They don't try to charge them. They don't want them charged. And so they don't have to present their case to a jury. And I understand they have multiple defenses in this case. Okay? They've got a possible self-defense claim. They've got a valid warrant claim. So they've got all kinds of things. However, those are defenses. And they are to be presented at trial like every other citizen does. Somehow we have created this artificially heightened standard of self-defense for police that does not exist in the law. Basically, if a cop shoots you and says, "Oh, I was in fear for my safety," nothing ever happens to him. And that does not exist in the law. The exact same standard of self-defense applies to a police officer that applies to anyone else. And yet, the rules are actually changed. And we wonder why it keeps happening, because nothing ever happens to them. Right? They're not prosecuted for it, and when they're sued civilly, they defend it, say they've got immunity, they drag it out. So if there's no consequences for your actions, you just keep doing it. In fact, the banality of evil, you'll just get worse. And, that's what we see here is if nothing ever happens as a consequence, the behavior continues to get worse. And they actually, we saw the emails that are sent out by Mattingly, and, they believe somehow that they are soldiers and warriors out on the lines against the people they're paid to protect and serve. Okay? Like they're storming the beaches of Normandy or something.
Steve, we're looking at a live picture from our camera crews in downtown. You can see the members of our community who have gathered at Jefferson Square Park. Many of those have left that area and are walking down 6th Street. And it appears in the video there that we're looking at that a fire has been set in a trash can. Smoke is coming from there now, but we just did see the flames burning from there. Let's look at this particular indictment that came down from Brett Hankinson. He has been fired from the Louisville Metro Police Department. 3 counts of wanton endangerment in the first degree. You say those are from shooting into neighbors' apartments, not into Breonna Taylor's apartment. His case has now been assigned to Division 13. Bond is set at $15,000 full cash. What happens now in this case, Steve?
Most likely they already have an agreement for what the bond is, and he'll post the bond and not be arrested. And then he'll appear in court for arraignment, in which he'll enter plea not guilty, at which point in time the case will be set for pretrial, discovery will be provided, and it'll be set for a trial. But, what can he, they're Class D felonies. He could easily be given what's called diversion, which means it's like traffic school for felonies. If he doesn't get in any trouble, then he's, not actually convicted of a felony. He doesn't go to jail on it, those type things. And the reason I say this is because we saw a couple of weeks ago, Detective Mark Watson, who had committed perjury and sent a couple people to prison in death penalty cases. And he got convicted, and the prosecution says, well, we'll just give him probation. And Judge Stevens says, you sent people to prison based on perjury testimony, you have to go to. They get a different set of rules than everybody else gets. And that has to change.
This case will not necessarily go to trial against him.
I would be surprised if it goes to trial, because one of the things I believe that is going on is they are trying to make sure that the evidence in the case is not made public. That's one of the reasons they resolved the case with the civil case with Breonna Taylor's family for that amount and so quickly, is because it only gets worse. The evidence in the case is much worse than what has already been to keep information from the public. And so I will be surprised if they don't try to get a gag order on the criminal discovery in this case as well, to keep all the information private and sealed.
Sadiqa, you are looking at a video there of